Okay, so now let's talk about chat. Officially talk a bit more because I've been talking about it through the semester, but let's actually do something with it now because regardless of how people feel about it, it is going to impact so many areas of our life. So the sooner you get experience with it, honestly, the better. So, what is it? Well, first, go ahead and sign up for an account. It's free. Go here and do a free account. Um, and I'm going to actually show you what I want you to do with it. But first, what is it, right? If you don't know, right, and you could actually just ask it, right? You could actually, might be fun just to ask it. What? I'm actually using the paid version. I just converted over recently. What is Chat GPT? Now I'm using version 4. Doesn't it does matter, but right, and it's like right. So GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Model Transformer. It's basically the way they train the model itself. And if you don't know the term model, it's based on the architecture of how we take data and create models so that we can then do prediction. But what they figured out how to do, and it's not necessarily new, they just figured out how to do it with a huge data set and figured out how to get out of it. Because first they generated it from a huge data set and then they tweaked it. And it was the tweaks that I think the more we're learning about this has made this something that is more usable. And it feels more like it has intelligence, but it doesn't have, right? So it's a type of AI and it's generative. When you hear people talk about AI, you hear them talking about different types of AI that exist, and the ultimate like next evolution, which who knows when it's going to make it, is called general AI, and that's when it starts to approach the level of human intelligence. And ChatGPT is not there, but is definitely showing signs of it. And but in this sense, I when I first started reading about ChatGPT, it kind of freaked me out. But then I started using it, and the more I started understanding it, it stopped freaking me out so much because it's basically just taking the idea of a search engine and then expanding it. So instead of having to go to Google, right? Instead of having this, what is chat, right? Then I could come here and look at it, right? I'd have to go through all of these, which is not necessarily bad, right? I got videos, I got all kinds of choices. So in this case, I just get an answer. Now, you could debate whether that's a good thing or not, but the thing it not only gives you, which is a nice, readable single answer versus these results, right? Because we're so used to this. And by the way, over time, we got better at how to actually search. But the nice thing here is it keeps the context, right? Like as a student developer, or you could say junior developer, should I use it to learn to code? Right. So now what it's going to do is like it understands the context at which I'm talking about, right? Right. Should not. And I like this answer, of course, right? But it is definitely a nice way to help you answer questions, right? If you're struggling with concepts, this is how I use it. I mean, I use it, and you can see, and the nice thing is, once I have a conversation, and that's really what this is, these are prompts, right? And here's the answer. The answer is in context of the whole conversation. So the prompts is what you learn to get better at so that you can get out the information that you want. And and in this case, right, so anyway, that's what it is. You can I want you to sign up for free, and we're gonna use it in a bit. But here's what I want you to do is I want you to play around with using it, right? For answering questions you have regarding JS, regarding JavaScript, right? So then create a README file in the 035 chat GTP And give me the prompts that you use. I don't need the answers, right? Just give me the prompts. Like, what were the questions you ask? And then in that also, right? And then, and if you feel it was helpful, also tell me that. So I want to see at least 5 different prompts. And again, try to keep these in the same context. Like if you're asking a question, you get an answer, you ask a related question about that topic, because that's really when you start to learn. Okay. So that's the first part of the assignment. Then what I want you to do is check out this video. I posted this on Discord. I had a student asking me about, right, at this point, should I still, considering the popularity and where we see this chat GDP and these generative transformative models going, should I still learn tech? And I found this, what I think is a really good video, because it talks to, now it's fairly long, right? I mean, at least watch half of it, right? I would watch the whole thing, honestly. I did myself. And in your README file, give it a new heading and give me your thoughts on this, on the content of this, because I think this is a pretty logical question for students who are studying coding. It's like, how is this going to affect this? What, should I still learn to code? Right. And my answer is absolutely. And you're going to see an example I'm going to give you in the next item, because, and it's trying to tell you this here, right? Is not because the more, it's really also a productivity tool. The more knowledge you have about coding, the better the prompts that you can write to get better information. I think, if anything, I would see it as a productivity tool in the coming years, to where you can be more productive with code, but you still have to learn the fundamentals, in my opinion. Okay. All right. So then you'll commit that with future question mark. Again, I want you to watch this. Give me your thoughts, right? Commit this in here, and then we'll move on to the next one. But I just want to give you an introduction if you haven't. I know some of you already are. I've been chatting with you about ChatGPT. I definitely think it's something we all need to use. Like I said, I've changed my opinion on it just in the last 2 months. I thought before, how could we teach coding given this level of tools? But this is where, honestly, when I teach this next semester, because when I've taught in the past, code reviews have been something really important, because this is not going to make you a coder. This is not going to give you the insight of what it means to write code or to create software. This is not going to necessarily, it maybe in the future it could do it, but people who can write and understand the code itself are still going to be very needed. As a matter of fact, they will be the people, because there's already a new field called prompt engineering. And in order to help people write better prompts, you have to learn. And in this case, we're talking specifically about code, how to write good prompts. But I'm going to tell you the other thing that's going to happen is there's going to be other areas. This is not just affecting coding. Like I used it recently to help write a social media post for a business, and it was phenomenal. And those areas where people are doing social media posts or research or even data analysis, right? All it's not going to be just coding. There's going to be a lot of different fields that get affected by this. Again, we have to figure out what this looks like going forward. So it's like I can either let it run over me, or I can get on board and at least understand it, so I have a better sense of how to help you understand it. And that's why I'm doing this assignment. Okay, so now you'll do that, and then we'll move on to actually getting some experience with an API related to this concept.